On the 1st of July 2018, Sexyy Red released a video for her official single 1000 Jugs. Just like Slide, this was another remix or reworking of a classic song. This time, the sample features the instrumental to Vanessa Carlton's hit 1000 Miles, the single that was made viral by the classic Terry Crews dancing scene in the movie White Chicks. Now, Sexyy Red would claim that she saw a remix of the song online and decided to give her own go at rapping on the beat.
So how did 1000 Jugs come about?
Well, I was on the internet and I seen a dude had did it and he was saying boom boom. So I'm like, ooh, I can remix this, but I was just playing when I did it.
And it was this single that actually took Sexyy to another level in St. Louis, but maybe not for the reasons she had hoped. In the interview, Sexyy explains that most of the people around her clowned her for this song and told her not to put it out as it would make her a joke in the city.
Yeah. And then I recorded it and everybody was laughing at me. In the studio, when I recorded, I'm like, shoot, what's funny?
Yeah, I'm dead.
Right, I'm like, and then that's when some people liked it, but they like, man, don't record that. Don't put that out there like that. You're going to make a joke of yourself. You're going to make a joke of yourself. So I was like, kind of didn't want to put it out like that. I had been wrote that song. I just never dropped it.
When listening to the song, it becomes clear as to why many were taken off guard by the track, as Sexyy sings her take on 1000 Miles, reimagining the chorus in her exaggerated ratchet voice. The song itself is compiled of hilarious boom boom ad-libs and features tongue-in-cheek lyrics of her rapping about killing goofies. Sexyy appears to even reference a possible run-in with her ops on the song, suggesting that she'd sent them running so fast that they left behind their tennis shoe. Now, the verses of the song weren't exactly filled with complex bars or metaphors, but it was a perfect depiction of Sexyy Red's ratchet personality. And from here, Sexyy decided to ignore her haters, going forward with the record, even filming an equally outrageous music video, with her toting guns and walking around her St. Louis hood with a goofy-looking man who looks like he has no business of being there. There were scenes of Sexyy Red strumming an AR rifle like a guitar and skipping around the neighborhood with that goofy. Now, Sexyy Red clearly didn't take herself too seriously, and she clearly understood the recipe for going viral on the internet, which doesn't always have to rely on good quality music or well thought out lyrics. In the end, she chose to release that single that many people had clowned her for, ultimately doubling down on the theme with an equally outrageous music video. But it turned out she had actually made the right choice, as the video amounted to hundreds of thousands of views, making her a household name in the streets of St. Louis. That single would land her her first radio interview on Hot 104.1 FM, where in a wholesome display she was actually joined by her own mother. Sexyy had already been making legitimate moves to further her career in the city, even performing Slide to a big crowd in St. Louis just days after 1000 Jugs was released. Sexyy by this point clearly realized there was a formula to getting views and going viral. She had the image, the lyrics, and the gangster affiliations that she would need to blow up in rap music quick time. And the more outrageous her songs and videos and lyrics were, the more fame and success she would see, whether people hated her or not. It may be possible that 1000 Jugs was so influential that it might have even been the inspiration for Young and Ace to choose that very same beat in 2021, when him and other ATK members chose to record the classic diss track Who I Smoke, which I covered extensively in my video about the war in Jacksonville. But anyway, in her interview, Sexyy Red would actually give an insight into how she felt becoming a meme off the back of these records.
And how you feel like getting put on like all these different social media platforms?
I mean, like, it's just crazy to me. I did not think, it's just so funny to me when I just go on like the internet and see me as a meme and see what people say about me, because I'm like, I never thought that I would get out there all the way like that. Like, I was always popular all my life though. Like, everybody already knew me in the city, but now it's viral, like, for real. It's kind of weird.
You was on your Insta story the other day and you was walking and dude was like, hey, I know you. A couple dudes stopped you. How that feel now?
Everybody stop me everywhere I go now.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go. It don't matter where I go. I go to the nail shop. I can go to the beauty supply, the supermarket. They gonna be like, you Sexyy Red, you just, hey, was you that girl on that video with that white boy with that ponytail with that, like, they always say stuff.
And she would go on to explain that she saw social media as a blessing.
So I always ask people this question, do you feel like social media is a curse or a blessing?
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, it was harder for people to get noticed without social media. But now that you got social media, it's so much faster for people to get seen and go viral and stuff like this. Like, that's a blessing.
Now, having just released 2 songs, Sexyy Red at this point was getting very clued up on how to manipulate the audience for views and exposure. And Sexyy Red would aim to keep this momentum going, releasing the drug anthem Free Smoke in the same month as 1000 Jugs. And in the next year, on the 1st of January 2020, Sexyy would follow that up with another street anthem called Northside. On this song, she chose to lean heavily into her blood gang affiliations, choosing a strategy not dissimilar to what Fake Blood 6ix9ine had done to go viral just a few years before this. In the video, Sexyy was seen sporting a red bandana, patterned shorts, and a red rag tied to her hand whilst throwing up numerous blood gang signs. And the lyrics themselves would pay homage to her North Side roots, even dissing other neighborhoods in St. Louis, such as the West and South Side. And she would even claim in the song that she is personally down to go on drills. But sadly, unlike 6ix9ine's blood antics, this song didn't actually get the attention that Sexyy was looking for, and ultimately she chose to take a brief hiatus, returning to her roots at the salon.
So rap wasn't working out, you know, the last few years.
I mean, it was working. My music was still going up.
You definitely were, and no disrespect, like you definitely were doing your thing. Like you were household name in your city. You were doing your thing, moving around. You had shows, and you had fans.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like you couldn't get the things that you really wanted off rap. So I don't want to disrespect your early career, but what were you doing to make money while you were trying to, you know, build that nationwide buzz?
I used to do her.
But in 2021, Sexyy Red would come back to music, releasing a number of singles which led up to her debut mixtape titled Ghetto Superstar. And to kick off the year, she released the shockingly titled track, Slob on My Cat. This was obviously a homage to the hip-hop classic by 3 6 Mafia, Slob on My Knob. And it would appear that Sexyy Red had another smart strategy of using famous samples of classic records to amplify her career. The original 3 6 Mafia song was an example of one of the most vulgar tracks in the early days of hip-hop that ultimately picked up a lot of attention, which made it a great choice for Sexy's emerging style. And her choice of lyrics certainly did not disappoint. And the next year, Sexyy would release the music video for that song, which ultimately went on to be her biggest hit at that point. And Sexyy would continue releasing her singles, as well as a slew of videos, such as the drill-inspired track Hood Bitch, where she can be seen holding up guns and red blood rags. At this point, Sexyy was picking up steam in the industry, and soon, celebrity cosigns would give her a much-needed stamp of approval. In 2022, JT from the City Girls would give Sexyy Red a public shout-out, letting the world know that her music slaps. Although her mixtape and recent singles at the time were all amassing good views in the hundreds of thousands, Sexyy Red had barely tapped into her full potential at this time. But the next year, 2023, one song in particular would launch her to the very top tier of the rap world.